Hi, I'm Dr. Chad Poole with Bio and Ag Engineering at North Carolina State University.
I'm Becky Spearman, livestock agent here in Bladen County.
Today we're going to be talking with you about a relatively new application method, a little bit different than the traditional effluent application method on farms, which involves an airway and a hose drag system.
Some of the advantages is a higher rate of volume that you're putting out at one time. It also reduces odor.
I'll add to that, one of the other advantages is there's possibly some nitrogen conservation, because essentially we're creating a furrow in the ground where the waste can basically infiltrate the soil at a quicker rate. One of the other advantages, as she mentioned, on the fact that we're applying a whole lot more waste, is the timeliness of that. Because we can put out a lot in a short amount of time, we're able to get on the field and get that done, where we are not really burdened by weather or extreme events that may occur during the application season.
So some other advantages are you can do irregular shaped fields and get the whole entire field, and you can apply during a little bit windier conditions. Disadvantages are the high cost up front and the need for a person to be driving the tractor the entire time.
So a couple other disadvantages to this system is, and in some ways it's an advantage but can be a disadvantage, is the high flow rates. These systems can carry up to 2,000 gallons per minute under high pressure. So if we have a leak in either the drag hose or some of the connection fittings, we can have a pretty terrible spill very quickly at those kind of flow rates and pressures. It also can be dangerous. Even though we're hooking behind the tractor unit that you can see in the field out here, if that hose were to bust right behind that unit, it could be dangerous for the operator. So it's always important to have multiple people on site when you're applying this, so at least someone can cut the pump off in case something were to happen.
I'm Channing Gooden. I'm a pig farmer from Bladen County. We probably started around 5 years ago with the Aerway, just as a way to move more volume of water, and kind of helps you with weather and that type of thing. You know, when you start a field with the Aerway, you're finishing the field with the Aerway. It's not like with your traveling gun, you know, you're doing this zone, this zone, this zone. It could take multiple days to cover a field, and with the Aerway, you cover that field in one day. With the Aerway, you're moving more volume, so you're controlling your gain level a little faster. You are tied to a tractor, but as far as fuel consumption, it's a lot cheaper to run the Aerway than it is to run the traveling guns or the solid set. If you look at it with a 100-gallon fuel tank, running irrigation reels, if you're running, 8-hour days, you're gonna burn 100 gallons of fuel probably with one pump every 2.5 days. With the Aerway system, with 100 gallons of fuel, I can run over a week. Well, the disadvantages I'd say would be you have to have two people, a tractor operator and a pump. With this one, I do have a remote shutoff. We bought a little bit later. That way, if I see something going wrong from the tractor, or if someone has to leave for a few minutes, I can shut the pump off from the tractor. Weed pressure is a little greater where you run the Aerway because you're disturbing that ground. And we have seen you have a little bit more crabgrass or maybe pigweed or something like that will come up a little bit easier because you're disturbing that ground a little bit. But other than that, it's not really many disadvantages.
So talking about some of the potential disadvantages or advantages of the system, you need to really be considerate of how you're turning on the turn rows with this unit. Because you're putting out a large amount of water, you need to have a plan ahead of time for how you're going to make those turns, so you can cut down on over application in those areas, and potentially compaction by having to back up in an area that's already been wetted. One of the other things that you might want to consider with this type of unit is to have RTK or some sort of auto steer on the system, so you minimize the amount of overlap within the field as you're going from one pass to the next.